Coming up next, I'll share some game-changing questions about your career, and we'll talk about the power of proximity. We'll take your calls and your chats, and it starts now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do in your work, where you can do that, the multiple places you can do that, fulfill that role, and then how to actually get there. So this is a show that is on purpose about your purpose, your why. Now, at a high level, your why is the same as my why, and it is to contribute, to make this world a better place. And we're going to talk about the contribution you make to this world through your work. Now, just some basic numbers to give you who are new to the program some perspective on how big of a deal this actually is. In America alone, the number is 90,000. 90,000 hours is what the average person in America will spend at work. Some of you feel like you're already spending 90,000 hours because Mondays are miserable. You're miserable when you get up to think about going to work. You feel like you're drowning the moment you get in the parking lot. The toxicity is unbearable. The work is awful for you. It's difficult. It's boring, all the things. There's a reason why you're feeling that way. But the good news is there's hope. There is a path to clarity and a path to stepping into that role, your dream job, and expanding that dream once you're there. This is what we talk about. There are 7 stages. We'll walk you through those, caller by caller, and we're here for you. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Jump in right now. You're a phone call away. If you feel like, hey, I'm embarrassed or I don't want anybody to know, Madison, the associate producer, will change your name and location. We're fine with that. So call. But first, I want to give you 3 questions that will help you really take assessment of an unhappy career. For those of you that are unhappy, these questions are for you. For the rest of you, think of these questions as it relates to friends or family members that are unhappy in their career. But I want to give you 3 questions that will really help you begin the process of getting out of the rut, getting unstuck. The first question is, why is my work so hard? If it's just so difficult and so hard, the day itself, it's just, it's such a drudge. You feel like you're climbing uphill in mud that's knee deep. Why is it so hard? Well, what you need to look at is your proficiency, the talent side of this. Are you spending the majority of your day doing work that you're actually really good at? There's your first clue. That's where I'd start. If you walk around, and I would take, honestly, a notepad or the smartphone, and when you're doing the different tasks and functions of your day, as you're doing them, make some notes. Am I good at this? Or is this really a struggle? I feel like I'm always trying to catch up, and I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball because I'm just not quite as good at it as other people. Let's look at the talent equation. Now let's also look at the passion equation, which is when you're walking around during the day, you need to be, again, assessing and taking notes. When I'm doing this in my day, does it suck the life out of me or does it give me juice? It's that simple. When you assess that and you score it and go, no, it does. It sucks the life out of me. How much of your day, when you look at that list at the end of the day, do you see I'm either not as talented as I need to be? It's really a struggle for me just from a proficiency standpoint, the ability to just get it done, or it sucks the life out of me. All right, now, when you look at that, there's a big reason why. If it's showing up that you're not as talented in it and you're not as passionate about it, that's a problem. That's why it's so hard. The other reason is, are you in a toxic culture? Look around you. Are you just around difficult people, difficult leader? And that's making the work itself being overshadowed by how miserable you are. And so everything feels so hard because you're miserable. You're in a storm of negativity. Second question that'll help you do an assessment for those of you who aren't happy in your career is, why do other people's opinions matter so much in my career? You've made decisions, or you are staying stuck because you're worried about family members or friends and what they'll say if you decide to change directions. Why does it matter so much? You need to really dive deep here. Is it about approval? Is it about your own self-doubt, and you use other people's natural questions as evidence as why you shouldn't do it? Uh-oh. So those are some things there right there. You're going to see the answers when you ask that question. Why do I care so much? I'm not making progress. I'm not making changes. I'm not doing some things that would propel me forward because I'm worried about what other people think. Why? Get to the source of that. Then the third question is, why am I not motivated? Oh, Ken, I look at it, I'm good at the work. I'm not in a toxic environment. Just not motivated. I enjoy the work, but I'm not motivated. I can tell you what's missing. There's no mission connection. The results of your work. You may be good at the work. You may enjoy the work, but it's not creating a result that really connects to your personal mission. Your professional vision must match up with your personal mission. And what I mean by that is you look at your motives. What motivates you? What drives you? What results drive you? What results make your heart sing? Answer that question and compare it to the results you're creating now. And you will always see when a person says, or when you find that your motivation is low, it's because there's not a connection between your work and the results that really fire your soul. So those are some questions. If you're feeling stuck right now, ask those three questions. Why is everything so hard at work? Why do I care about other people's opinions in my career? And then why am I not motivated? I find that we see a lot of those issues right there that those three questions will answer. Get to the source of the symptom every time. And that's where you begin to get clarity and ultimately be able to move forward. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577 is the number. Let's go. Oh my goodness, is that correct, Madison? Wow, what time is it there? Do we know? All right, I got to ask Ryan. Ryan is on the line in Japan. Ryan, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, it's morning. What time is it in Japan?
It's 1 in the morning.
Oh my goodness. Joe, can we fix that feedback? Let's try that again. Ryan, am I coming through loud and clear?
You were earlier, and now it's a little fumbled.
Yeah, okay. All right, tell you what. Let's. I'm going to put her on hold. Ryan, stay with us. Let's see if we can figure this out. That's a technology thing all the way across the world. We'll try to figure it out. Stay with us. Until then, let's go to Charlie in Knoxville, Tennessee. Charlie, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I have a question about discouragement with a job.
Okay.
So I got my undergrad and master's both in theological education, and my desire, my vision, has always been to get a doctorate to teach at a seminary, university level. Mm-hmm. So in the meantime, I got a job. Me and my family moved from South Carolina to Knoxville to teach at a private Christian school. Well, in May, found out I wasn't going to get a contract. So I'm kind of stuck without, a teaching job. So I couldn't really further that. So now I'm really in a job that pays, it pays the bills, but it's not really something I'm passionate about. So I'm trying to figure out, do I still pursue a theological degree, a PhD, without, possible a job, or should I do a different avenue?
Well,
that's really my question. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
I understand what you're asking, but I don't think your question makes sense, because the reality is that your dream is really clear. Yes or no?
It is.
Yeah. And so you want to teach on the doctorate level in theology, correct?
Correct.
So there's a doctorate you must have to be able to teach theology at the level you want to teach. Am I understanding that?
That's correct.
Well, then you got to do that. So just because you're out of a teaching job right now, this may be a blessing. I know it doesn't feel like a blessing. I'm not saying it is a blessing, but I'm saying it might be in that you're going to have to get the doctorate anyway. So what you've got to do is your day job in it right now, you keep looking to get back into teaching. So you keep looking. You're just like everybody else in the COVID or regular times that something changes and you get kicked out of the nest. I don't think that you change the nest that you want to be in. Not in this situation.
The other possibility I was thinking of, because I've had most of my mentors in, the field that I want to be in, they've strongly discouraged me. I mean, not discouraged me, but they've sort of like, hey, there's more positions than there are, there's more applicants than there are positions. So it's a very competitive market. You might not even get a job in what you're wanting to do. So the other avenue was like, I could do it on YouTube. So I could do YouTube channels and sort of fulfill that same desires, but it doesn't really bring any income. So I'm like, immediate income. So what do I do in that case? I don't know if that sort of the struggle is.
You know what?
I keep my daytime job, but do I pursue that as a better alternative?
I don't know that it's an alternative. I think it's a both and. And I think that while you're trying to save up the money for the doctorate, because you're going to save that money up, correct?
Correct.
How long is it going to take you to save it up?
Oh man.
Quick answer. Don't overthink it. Okay, let's say 3 years.
All right, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So you could start your YouTube channel tonight. Start teaching. Start sharing lessons on theology. That's what you love. So my answer is yes, both and. But you don't have to give up the idea of being getting a doctorate and teaching on that level just because it's competitive, just because you don't have a doctorate. No, we're going to get the day job, which you've done, check. And if you need to get a better day job that pays you more money, check, go do that. All the while, you're teaching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week on YouTube. And you're building and try to build it. It will eventually turn into revenue if you stay with it long enough. And you put out some stuff that you're passionate about. And YouTube, by the way, is making you better. And it might actually be down the line, Charlie, the differentiator for you, where you're up applying for these positions after you get the doctorate, and you're up against other people, and they don't have a YouTube channel with 15,000 subscribers or whatever you have.
That's true.
I know it's true.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes, do YouTube. Yes, save up the money for the doctorate. Yes, get your doctorate. Yes, put yourself out there and use the proximity principle and the web of connections and beat out everybody else because you've got better relationships because you know it's about who you know, not what you know in theology.
Definitely.
Do you have my book, The Proximity Principle?
I do not.
All right. I'm not going to ask you why you don't, but today you have it because it is the answer. The proximity principle says in order to do what Charlie wants to do, he's got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening, which means you got to start hanging around other theology professors and get yourself a really strong network and connection of those men and women around the country. And then you, as COVID opens up and opportunities present themselves, you've got to be going to conventions and online groups and getting super connected.
Okay.
Because that's where the job opportunity is going to come. You know it and I know it, don't you?
I do.
I'm teaching on it later in the program. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I know you got another question, but listen to me. Hold on, Charlie. Charlie, hold on, man. Listen to me. I want to make sure you got what I'm telling you. You've got to read this book, and you've got to do it because it's going to make the difference, okay? All right, go ahead. What's your question?
Well, the follow-up question I have is, in the meantime, the day job that I have, I haven't had any success with resumes or any type of, with no experience. I feel like that's one thing that my degree has done is sort of crippled me from other possibilities, or at least it seems like that. So how do I get a day job that can produce money, good money that I can provide for the family until that comes? The YouTube, that's really been the struggle that I have as well. Like right now I'm in remodeling, which is great, but it's just barely paying the bills. And I have a kid on the way, which I'm excited about.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. You either go get a better day job that doesn't require a bunch of experience. This is the problem. We get these calls all the time. Ken, I want this kind of job, but it says I need experience. Well, there's no shortcut to that.
Yeah.
So you don't want a day job that requires a bunch of experience. You don't have time for that.
That's true.
So go get a day job that doesn't require a bunch of experience. What are you making right now as a remodeler?
About 2,000 a month.
Yeah. No, you could go deliver pizzas full time and make more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
I know. So start looking for jobs that are labor intensive. My dad was a pastor, retired recently after 47 years, Charlie. When he planted the second church that he planted when I was 12, my dad worked on a construction crew and dug ditches and was a laborer and made really good hourly money because because as a pastor, it was the only thing he could do that would make that kind of money that got us through until the church grew to the point that he could be full time. He went out and worked his butt off, and he made at that time a really good hourly wage. But right now, $2,000 isn't going to cut it. But I would go get a full-time job that brings in way more than the $2,000. That's just good old hustle. Whether you're driving delivery, you're working in a warehouse, you're working on a construction crew, none of that requires experience. It requires character and hard work. You know it, and I know it. And then if you want to keep making money on the side as a remodeler, that becomes extra money.
Yeah.
So I would do the remodeling, and then I would go bust your butt in 40 hours doing something else, and that takes care of the basics. But you have got to keep going forward on this. This is for the next couple years, man. This is grind it out. Grind it out. The dream doesn't come easy. All right. So we ready to go back? Let's go back. All right, we're going to try this, folks. Hang with us, as Ryan really matters to me. Technology can be funky. Let's go back to Japan and see if we can get Ryan. Ryan, are you there?
Hi.
Hi, Ryan.
Hello.
Oh, it sounds great. So what's going on? How can I help?
Okay. So my husband is in the Navy, and we will be moving back to the States in about a year. And so I wanted to know if I'm only planning on living in a certain state for 1.5 years tops, do I let possible employers know that information in my interview? Because I'm kind of scared that no one will want to hire me with a known expiration date.
Well, it depends on the kind of role that you're going after. Do you have any kind of a gut feeling? What kind of role are you going after?
Well, in San Diego, I was in animal care. I was a sea lion trainer. So I was hoping to get a job at an aquarium or a zoo, or just I really miss having a job in my career field.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that at all. I think those are probably high turnover places, don't you think?
Yeah, they can be.
Yeah, so I wouldn't worry about it. The reason I ask that is because if it was at a junior executive level, they're going to ask the questions of what does your husband do? They're going to dig. And so that would come out whether you wanted it to or not, I think, at a higher level position. First of all, I love animal care. It's not to say that's not a high level position, but I just want you to know, I don't know that that's going to come up in that interview, I don't think it matters that much. I definitely would not tell them. I would not offer that information. If they ask you, you can tell them, well, my husband's in the Navy, and so we move around a good bit, but I'll give you a heads up. I'll give you a ton of notice, and I'm really good at it. I think you win the job based on you. I would not volunteer the information.
Okay.
And by the way, that's not unethical. Do you understand that? You're not being dishonest.
Okay.
In any way.
I was worried about.
Yeah, I know. And I didn't address it that way. I addressed it tactically, but I want to address this morally. Are you going to do a good job for them for 1.5 years?
Yes.
Do you love that work?
Yes.
Are you going to do a good job in replacing yourself and giving them a heads up when it is come time? Are you going to resign on them and ghost them in the middle of the night?
Oh, no.
All right, then. So that's the ethical part. You're high character. I know you're not going to do that, but I'm asking you those silly questions for you to realize that you're a really good person and you're not being dishonest. Should a person not be allowed to work because they may have to move in 1.5 years?
I don't think so.
No, nobody does. Your husband is serving our country in the Navy. It's a part of the deal. if you're going to do a great job, then don't worry about your timeline. You do what you know you love to do and don't even think twice about it. And I just want to thank you and your husband for your service. Thank you for serving our country.
Thank you so much. Thanks for taking my question.
You bet. Now, Ryan, go to sleep. You stayed up really late. You earned it. So thanks for calling all the way from Japan.
Thank you.
I love it. Joe, good job. The engineers, Bobby, all the team, thanks for making that happen. I love that. 844-747-2577. All right, let's go to the chat room. Anthony Dodd writes in, what is your suggestion on just picking and sticking with one thing when you're interested in so much? I think there's a strategy to this. I love that you're interested in so much. I think a lot of people like you, just in the way you phrase that, I think this is part of the human condition to almost feel a sense of guilt because you're interested in so many things. You shouldn't feel that way. What you should do is try to find the thread between all the things. I'm absolutely convinced that there is a thread between a few of the things. There might be a good chance that there's a thread between several of the things. I don't know if there's a thread between all of the things, but I can tell you there's a thread, and you got to look for that because that becomes the evidence, the clues that you need to go, oh, this is the right thing. And so I really, really recommend that you call the program. Let's talk about the things. But if you don't call the program, go to kencoleman.com. It's a free download. Get the Career Clarity Guide, and it's a worksheet that will walk you through at your pace what you do best, your talent, the work you love to do most, your passion, and the results of your work that matter deeply to you, your mission. Where those three intersect, that's the sweet spot. That's the contribution area. And there's so many things you can do in that area. And I think you might find that several of those things that you're interested in all fall within your sweet spot. At that point, you just go, well, which of these do I get the most excitement and enjoyment out of? And let's rank them. And then before you choose, use the proximity principle, which says in order to do what you want to do, Anthony, you got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it's happening. Why do we do that? Not just for opportunity, but on the front end. I wrote the proximity principle book, and I'm going to teach on it here in just a second, a little bit more. But I wrote it with the idea that this is how you get opportunity in your career, to get the opportunity to get in and the opportunity to keep moving up. But in writing it, what I realized is that proximity is not just about opportunity. It's also about getting more clarity. Because I could be interested in A, B, C, and D. And if I go hang around people that do A successfully, and I get in places where the type of work in A is happening, my head and heart begin to align because I get real clarity on what's involved in A. And I go, would that be enjoyable for me? And the answer is yes or no. And it's probably on a spectrum. So it's really about clarifying and verifying as well. So that's what you need to do. Akshay writes in, what do I do when my superiors blame me for functionality mistakes after they've already approved my design work? Gosh, I'm not sure I totally can answer this because I don't know that I understand it completely, but I'm going to take a stab at this. Your superiors have approved your design work. But the functionality to me would be about the programming piece or the implementation. So I would go to them and say, hey, can we dig into this? How is my design work? And after you approve it, how's the functionality issues? Where's the disconnect between I designed something? Is it because my design doesn't allow for functionality? Then that's something you need to be understanding and fix that. But if it's the people that are supposed to make your designs work, they're blowing it, that could be a real red flag as to some poor leadership. But it sounds like to me there needs to be a meeting of the minds on where the breakdown is. So clarity is what you're getting at there. Not, well, they're blaming me. What do I do? Figure out why they're blaming you. Where's the breakdown and what is your role in that breakdown? 844-747 844-747-2577 is the number, 844-747-2577. Hey, quick reminder, our show is growing. Record month on YouTube. Thank you so much. Subscribers are up, views are up, minutes watched are up. Thank you. That's because you are consuming this. And I say thank you because my mission is to get this program and your phone calls in front of as many people as possible so they can learn from you that have called, and they can learn as they watch and as they listen and decide to call in. And so you all, thank you. I'm just humbled. And I want to say that if you hit the thumbs up right now, if you're watching right now and you're enjoying it, you haven't hit the thumbs up, would you do that? Would you subscribe if you haven't? It's not going to overload your inbox, but it really helps us. YouTube pays attention to that stuff, and the team is telling me, Ken, this is what's happening. And so share the show. One click. All of those things are one click. If you love the show and it's helping you, would you give 3 clicks to help spread the word to others who will hopefully experience what you are experiencing? So thank you for considering that. Thank you for watching. It's such a blessing. We're so excited. And I just got some numbers. We've passed 20 million downloads of our podcast as well. So as you're watching this live or on demand and you want to be able to listen to more of the show, the podcast of the show is anywhere podcasts are. So Apple, Spotify, whatever. And it's just the Ken Coleman Show. So you can go download the podcast and subscribe to that as well. So really exciting stuff. All right. I want to revisit the proximity principle, because it's funny. It's like this, the proximity principle came out of this program. As I was developing content and trying to help people figure out how to get where they want to go, not figure out what they're supposed to do, but how do I get where I want to go? Because I think a lot more people know than they even realize. And I think when people call the show and you hear us begin to unpack things, they can get there pretty quickly, go, well, this is what I want to do, but they're really hung up on how to get there. And I wanted to demystify the climb up to your dream job, the climb up the mountain, because it's scary and it's big and there's a lot of unforeseen things that happen, and it can confuse us. And so anyway, we wrote the book after I brought the proximity principle to the show. Because I have caller after caller say, Ken, I need your help on how to get there. And when you realize that it's just good old-fashioned discipline and diligence to show up around the right people in the right places, you realize this is crazy how simple success and progress is when we break it down to proximity. The power of proximity. It's a word we don't use a lot. I didn't use it a lot before we actually came up with the proximity principle, which says, in order to do what you want to do, meaning in order to get where you want to go, it's as simple as you getting around people that are doing what you want to do successfully and getting in places where you can learn and observe and watch and connect and meet other people. That's the places. So people and places. You think, in my career, what are the places that I would need to be in so that I can observe and learn and see and connect? Who are the people that I need to get around so that they tell me, here's a place you need to be. You need to be over here. You don't need to go to this college. You need to go to this specialty school, whatever it is. Or, hey, you need to get in this online community. You need to listen to this podcast. You need to take this certification course. Those are places. The people, you need to be around this person. They hire people like you all the time. They're one of the best. They got a story like yours, whatever it is. People plus places equals opportunity. Let's go a little bit further. The right people that are doing what you want to do, they're successful at it. Plus the right places, the places that good cultures, great companies, wonderful certification programs, great schools, great internship-based opportunities in certain companies, whatever it is. The right places, the right people plus the right places equals opportunities. Doors swing open wide. You're not kicking doors down. Doors are opening for you. Even better, people are knocking on your door going, hey, so I've got a mutual friend, so-and-so told me about you. They said that you're qualified, you're passionate, you're ready to go. We got a position for you. Folks, this isn't mythical. That's why I'm describing it this way. You've heard this happen to other people if it's not happened to you. Opportunities knock on your door. If you want opportunities to find you, it's all about proximity. Now, if you're new to the program, and we get callers every day that don't have my book, and that's fine. I give it to them. I can't give you all a copy of my book, but I can give you a great deal. And I'm just telling you, go to my website, kencoleman.com. You can get all three formats, the audio, read by me, the ebook, or the signed hardback copy, all for $25. Normally, all three of those formats would be $65 total if you bought all three. You get all three for $25. The retail on this thing is $20. So it's a great gift for those who are, that they don't know how to get there, and it feels so intimidating, whether it's a spouse, a sibling, a parent, a friend. I write about the 5 people in the 5 places that everybody needs to be looking at. Do I need to be around these people? Do I need to be in these places? It identifies them, how to get there, what to do. But folks, whether you buy the book or not, if you just hear the principle one more time and you just do that, you'll get it. In order to do what you want to do, I want you to think about that dream job, the top of your mountain. Dream big right now. What's the answer? And it seems so big and so difficult to get to. But if you get serious today, you start identifying who are the people that I need to be around. They're doing what I want to do. Oh, Ken, they're a bunch of very famous, successful people. I can't get coffee with them. Maybe. But I bet you they got a book, a television show, a podcast, an online course. I learned everything about interviewing in broadcasting from watching 3 of the best interviewers the planet's ever seen. Never met any of the gentlemen at all. I watched them. With the internet, there's so much information that's out there. So that's the professional, just one of the people I write about in the proximity principle. Folks, if you get around the right people, stay around the right people. Guess what they do? They tell you about other right people, and they introduce you to those right people, and they tell you about these right places. And when you go to those right places, you meet more of the right people, and they tell you about more right places. And this becomes a daily habit of looking up, looking around. Am I in the right place? What are some other places? Am I around the right people? Who are some more of the right people? And get in proximity. Proximity propels us. It's that simple. It prepares us for what we want to do and propels us to where we want to go. It just is the magic formula. And as you now know, it's not so magical. It's just intentionality. It's that simple. But intentionality around the right people and the right places becomes an exponential multiplier of your progress. That's the game changer. Whether it's for a day job or a dream job. Some of you going, Ken, I don't even know what the dream job is. I just need a job, dude. Guess what? Proximity principle works for the day job. With 20 million plus people unemployed right now, and it's super competitive out there, you want to know how you stand out of the stack of resumes? The proximity principle. Every time. So go get the book or take this simple explanation and start doing it. 844-747-2577. I want to take another call, Joe. Just thought I'd tell you. Let's go to the beautiful Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania where Elizabeth joins us. Elizabeth, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, how are you?
I am living the dream, Elizabeth. What's going on?
I am a federal employee, and I keep applying for new federal positions because I'd like to move up. Most jobs that I apply for have some kind of questionnaire where they list like multiple choice options, and you have to select which applies to you. And the problem is that if I don't get those questions exactly correct, they never even get a chance to look at my resume or cover letter. I have experience, education, and I try to show I have a good work ethic by constantly taking on extra work and other duties. Is there some kind of trick to selecting the right answers or getting noticed? Because when I look at the multiple choice, almost every single option applies to me, and it's just a matter of, multiple choice, picking which one it might be is the right answer.
And no matter what, you're clearly not answering it to the optimal answers for them, so they're kicking you out.
There is no all the above.
Yeah. Well, this is my problem with the federal government. If the federal government can basically screw up anything it chooses, and almost without fail, they just make everything so much more difficult because it's a bunch of bureaucrats and they don't think like real business people. They just don't. And so I don't have an answer as to how you're supposed to score the right way because this is a pre-screen. And so I just spent a bunch of time talking about the proximity principle. And I go, does that work in the federal government? I don't even know. Meaning, if you had all these great connections for a government job, a federal government job, and you had the right connections for the hiring manager or whatever to get to them, would they still make you take that stupid screening thing?
Yeah, it's pretty much standard procedure. You have to go through the screening thing. And the problem is that the answers could all apply potentially to that job, and they write them so complicated that all of those answers could apply to my experience. So I wasn't sure if there's some kind of secret trick to maybe getting noticed beyond that.
Okay. Well, the trick is the proximity principle, where relationships get you to somebody and they go, and they know you're really sharp, and you go, but here's the deal. The pre-screen thing keeps kicking me out. And they're going to have to go, oh gosh. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So the only thing that I can tell you is that in the real world, and I'm saying everything but the federal government, I'd find out who the hiring manager is. And I'd find out, do you know anybody that knows that person? And yeah, you're looking to get around the system, and people get around the system every day. You know it and I know it. And the way they get around the system is through relationships. They'll move you to the top. It's the only way I know how. So that's the only way. But I'm curious to know, forget the federal government position. What's the work you want to do? Describe it.
I work in law enforcement, so I'd like to stay somewhere in that. I have a master's degree. I'm really good at training new people, and I like teaching in general.
So what's the dream job? Teaching other law enforcement officers? Preparing them to get in the field?
Some kind of employee development.
Well, why are you limiting yourself to the federal government?
I've already put in 5 years. I like the benefits, and I enjoy the flexibility of being able to never start over again and always have the seniority and my time off and different kind of things like that, where I can like move cross country if I want to and still basically have the same job.
Okay, so that's
always really appealed to me.
Okay, all right. But you understand you're painting yourself in your own corner, because that's your answer is about benefits and seniority as opposed to the work. But that's fine. I'm not saying that's a wrong answer. I just want you to hear yourself say that, because now you've limited yourself. So my question is, 5 years, are you in federal law enforcement now?
Yes.
All right. So
I've been in there for 5 years.
Right. So I don't understand why you're going through this silly screening when you're already in. Are you trying to change departments?
I'm trying to move up, so like for a promotion.
Yeah, but in the same field.
Like this, yeah, the same field, same agency.
Oh, okay. Well,
I still have to take the pre-screen.
Yeah, but have you talked to your immediate supervisor?
I have.
And
it's the same answer. It's you have to know the answers to the question.
Oh, okay. All right, we could have saved several minutes here. So is this a study guide somewhere?
Nope, not that I know of.
Okay. So this is totally different. All right. I knew it, though. This is classic federal government. I just need to rant for a second, Elizabeth, on your behalf.
You're fine.
You've been in this agency for 5 years, and you just simply want a promotion, and they're basically saying you got to pass this screening test, and there is no study guide. You just got to figure it out.
Yes.
You realize how stupid that is? There's no way for you to learn the actual answer. Do we want you to know the answer, or do we want you to win the test lottery?
I don't know. I guess it's kind of all luck.
Well, it's silly. So your options are keep taking it. And you better talk to somebody who's passed it and figure it out. I don't know if that's considered.
I've talked to a couple people who passed other jobs that I've applied for and kind of figured out the type of answers they want for the questions. But the last one I applied for was a brand new position. They just started.
Well,
so
keep
nobody
taking it.
had gone through it.
Are there any limitations to how many times you can take it?
Nope. Once per, when they open the position, it's once per application. So once per opening. So when they close it, I would have to reapply again for a different position once they open a new position.
Well, then, as is par for the course, the federal government has already locked you into what your options are. So if that's what you want to do and you want to stay in the federal government, law enforcement, you got to play by their rules. I think it's stupid, their rules. I think it's ridiculous, their rules. I think it's discouraging, their rules. And if I were you, I'd reassess this desire that is driven by benefits and seniority and go, is there a better path for me? Because what I heard, Elizabeth, is that you enjoy instruction. Specifically, you enjoy instructing and training law enforcement officers, and I'll bet you could do that in the private sector or on the state level, and it might be a lot easier. I certainly could be wrong because I don't know, okay? And I want to say that, my giant asterisk, but I would be looking for better alternatives, and could you train private security guards and do something like that and make some really good dough because of your background in federal law enforcement? Because, see, you love the instructing and the training, so it certainly is worth kicking the tires somewhere else. And the federal benefits aren't all they're cracked up to be. That's my 2 cents, because I want you to be happy. If you keep doing it this way and you keep getting kicked out because of the weird way they've got these questions answered, they're missing out on a really great trainer, and shame on them. And you're going to resent this process. You're going to resent them if you're not already there, and that's not healthy. So that's my 2 cents. All right, my time is almost up, but before I let you go, you matter. You have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.